pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Brian Smith.
Here.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yep.
Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Bill Boylan.
Yes.
Dean Rice.
Here.
Okay, everybody's had a chance to review the proposed minutes from last month's meeting. Entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll motion.
Is there a second? Motion.
Second.
Motion on the floor to approve the minutes as presented. Steve Jordan.
Yeah.
Bill Boylan.
Yes.
Brian Smith.
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yes.
Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Dean Rice.
Yes.
Everybody's had a chance to look at the October finance report and reader report. I've answered a few questions. Entertain a motion to approve the bank reconciliation and finance report as presented.
Make a motion. I'll second.
Motion on the floor to approve the October finance report. Bill Boylan,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yep.
Brian Smith.
Yes.
Steve Jordan.
Yes.
Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Dean Rice.
Yes.
No guests that has to be on the agenda. George did present a written report from the police department. If you have questions, you'll have to contact George. Same with the EMS report with Ashley. If everybody, I laid a hard copy on the desk for everybody at that. So. Are there any committee reports from last month? If not, then we're going to the fiscal officer report. First on the agenda tonight is the emergency reading of Resolution 2024-23. This is a resolution authorizing the administrator of the Village of Antwerp, Ohio, to make a total expenditure in excess of $75,000 for engineering services related to the Canal Wentworth Waterline Storm Improvement Project and declaring the same an emergency. Entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor to suspend the rules for Resolution 2024-23. Bill Boylan,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner.
Just, why is this an emergency? Just real quick.
In order to hit the timelines. What we did was, we originally, they were engineering Canal, and then you would turn left onto Main Street. And with our discussion with ODOT, we're now looking at taking the water in the storm up to Erie Street, which there's a large storm up there that we can dump into. So in order to hit timelines, get things done for ODOT and for the state and stuff, we had to do it as an emergency.
Okay. And one other question, why are we paying for Pioneer's property on there? Is that the one over? That's Pioneer Railroad. It says
No,
Patriot
that,
Rail.
Patriot Rail, I'm sorry.
yeah, what that is that's for them to review the engineering to bore underneath the railroad. There's currently a water line there, but it's in a chase and it's not of sufficient size. So we're going to have to put a new line under the railroad.
Okay.
So the 5,500 or whatever it is, that's just the fee to review the engineering. That's not the fee to permit to allow it to happen. That'll be more.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. The O
If
was
we run
just
that
a
Terry Street,
response.
is that going to help alleviate the problem that Mrs. Brinkman had?
No, I'm hoping so. Because we would be able to put a catch basin in there and then run it into the storm.
Yes. For mine, Kevin.
And Dean Rice.
Yes.
Okay, now we would entertain, unless there's any other discussion, entertain a motion to adopt.
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion on the floor to adopt Resolution 2024-23. Jason Franks,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
and Dean Rice.
Yes.
Next on the agenda is the emergency reading of ordinance 2024-17. This is an ordinance rescinding ordinance number 2024-06 and declaring it an emergency. No discussion, motion to suspend the rules.
What is this one for, just to clarify for the?
This is the ordinance that was passed earlier this year in regards to the dispensaries not being located in the downtown district and what was the other district that they was in?
Green, I
The
think.
Green district, yeah. Unfortunately, that did not pass by a 3/4 majority, so it needs to be rescinded.
I'll make a motion to suspend.
Is there a second to Bill's motion?
I'll second it.
Motion on the floor to suspend the rules in regards to ordinance 2024-17. Bill Boylan,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Dean Reister.
Yes.
Entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-17.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor to adopt ordinance 2024-17. Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Dean Reister.
Before I vote, are we going to introduce this ordinance at a later time to go through voting again?
That would be up to the council if they decide they wanted to, but I think on the matter of it needing to be rescinded, it's just to follow the Ohio Revised Code. Am I correct on that? Ryan?
Yes.
So,
Okay, yes.
next on the agenda is emergency reading of ordinance 2024-18. This is an ordinance amending ordinance number 9416 pursuant to recommendations made by the Village Planning and Zoning Commission in declaring an emergency. This is the information that Zoning Inspector Oberlin gave us back at the September meeting. They had their public hearing last week and everything went according to the as planned, so we have 30 days to adopt this ordinance by the Ohio Revised Code in the village.
I noticed on a couple of these things there are minor changes, basically some typos. Can I make a typo correction at this time? Is that possible? Section 8 on page 2 has underground spelled wrong. And I don't know if that means, I hate to have another one just because of an additional typo.
I can, since it's not on the signature page, I can make that correction, I guess. Put it in the book that way, but section, you said under.
The title.
Yeah, it's the bold, section 8, page 2, or I should say page 2, section 8. It's underground. So,
Maybe that's what he meant. It's French.
you never know with this game, but
Section,
no, I know what you
Straight
meant.
over, you see it?
I see it. Maybe you in there. Okay, I was looking at it.
I move we suspend the rules of 3 readings.
Motion to suspend the rules on ordinance 2024-18 by Dean and Steve. Were you the second?
Yes.
There was a public hearing too this past week,
Correct.
so.
Motion on the floor to suspend the rules. Dean Reister,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Bill Boylan.
Yes.
I move we pass.
Motion to adopt. Is there a second to Dean's motion?
Second.
Motion on the floor to adopt ordinance 2024-18. Dean Reister,
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
and Bryce Steiner.
Yes.
Moving on, emergency ordinance 2024-19. This is the ordinance amending ordinance number 9417 pursuant to recommendations made by the Village Planning and Zoning Commission and declaring an emergency. Again, this is information that Gabe provided to us at the September meeting. And this was included in the hearing they had last week as well, so motion to suspend the rules.
I'll make it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion on the floor to suspend the rules in regards to ordinance 2024-19. Jason Franks,
Yes.
Dean Reister,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Bill Boylan.
Yes.
Motion, or entertain a motion to adopt.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor to adopt ordinance 2024-19. Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
and Dean Reister.
Yes.
Moving on, we have our second reading of Resolution 2024-21, a resolution adopting the personnel manual for the Village of Antwerp, Baldwin County, Ohio, including any and all amendments thereto, and all applicable statements attached thereto for calendar year 2025.
Bryce, was you able to get your copy? Did you guys?
Yes, and thank you, Kevin.
Next on the agenda is ordinance 2024-11, second reading. This is an ordinance amending section 2 of ordinance 2000-19, establishing and scheduling a fees, charges, expenses, and collection procedure for zoning permits, amendments, appeals, variances, conditional use permits, and other matters relating to administration and enforcement of zoning in the Village of Antwerp, Ohio, and regulating the fees paid to the zoning inspector for services. Next is the second reading of ordinance 2024-12, an ordinance prohibiting duplexing or triplexing of existing single-family homes in the Village of Antwerp, prohibiting existing duplexes from being converted into more than two units, prohibiting existing single-family homes from being converted into multifamily apartment buildings, and requiring permitting and approval for construction of new duplexes, triplexes, and multifamily apartment buildings in the village.
Can I make some discussion on that?
Why don't we have discussion during new business, since that way we get through all the readings, and then next is second reading of ordinance 2024-13. An ordinance amending number 2022-24, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2018-17, and ordinance increasing water rates for the Village of Antwerp, Baldwin County, Ohio, specifically amending sections 205 of the ordinance number 2018-17 to maintain the current minimum charge for each tap effective January 2021. And then we have second reading of ordinance 2024-14, an ordinance to establish the time and place of regular meetings of the council for the Village of Antwerp, Baldwin County, Ohio for calendar year 2025. And next is the second reading of ordinance 2024-15. This is an ordinance setting temporary appropriations for 2025, which shall be in effect until permanent appropriations are set, or April 1st, 2025, whichever shall occur first. And then we have the second reading of ordinance 2024-16. An ordinance establishing compensation for the Village of Antwerp, Ohio for the calendar year 2025.
Did you miss the street lighting fund transfer?
Yep.
Yeah.
24-22.
Must have them held together.
I thought maybe I didn't hear it. Everyone else didn't hear it.
I have to go back and grab it. There we go. Let's take a quick. Sorry, resolution 2024-22, a resolution authorizing, this is the second reading of this. A resolution authorizing the village fiscal officer to transfer $15,000 from the general fund to the street lighting fund. Thanks for catching that. That should be all I have. Move on to old business.
I've got a couple items for old business. The first one, I'm not sure how to handle this or how it is handled. Ordinance 2024-05. The ordinance reads an ordinance regarding the placement of mobile homes and the transfer of same within the village. and declaring it an emergency. If I remember right, that was tabled a couple times. Is it possible to have that moved to like the Planning and Zoning Commission, have them work on that? Or once it's tabled, I don't know what the procedure is for an ordinance like that didn't go anywhere.
I think that's a great place for it.
But I don't know, do you untable it and then make a motion to have it moved? I don't
It
know.
was an ordinance that we had to restrict existing mobile homes when they sell or transfer title.
I don't see any problem with,
Sending it to us.
Send it
Yeah.
to the zoning. So do you want to make a motion to that effect then, to just send that ordinance to the planning and
Yes.
zoning committee?
And see if they make adjustments to it. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, I want the commission to review it and any necessary changes that might be needed.
And then bring it back up. for-
For approval, and then it'll be a public hearing on it.
Alright. So Bill has made a motion to move ordinance 2024-05 to the planning and zoning commission for review and recommendations. Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Motion on the floor to move ordinance 2024-05 to the planning and zoning commission. Bill Boylan,
Yes?
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
yes,
Jason Franks,
Yes.
and Dean Reister.
Yes.
Any other old business?
Yes, if I remember right, we had some discussion on a driveway on Water Plant Drive, Stone Drive. The owner was asking for some sort of a maintenance agreement or something like that, once he had put it in place. Did we go anywhere with that? Or is there any?
Well, no, we didn't do anything because we didn't give him permission to put it there to begin with.
So what was the outcome? We just gonna let it set?
I really don't know what else to do other than tell him to dig it up and turn it back to grass. The council never authorized it to
Right.
be done.
They got a formal contract of some sort, wasn't it?
Say, I thought we did have it all, I thought it was all taken care of, but I think it was,
There was
he was
discussion.
waiting on our attorney and they,
Yeah.
our
That's
attorney
right.
was waiting on their attorney and then it got lost.
Yeah, we finally got a document, but, and I think I may have sent it to Brandon. I'd have to check my email, but there were some things that had needed to be reviewed. But
I think he was, the last I recall, he was wanting some documentation, so if he sold the building or transferred the building, then we could keep that drive in place, because we agreed as a council to allow him to do the improvement that he did over that area.
no, we did not. Council never took action. There was discussion. The committee went out and reviewed it, but it was never approved.
If I recall, I think there was, when
It was
Melanie
hung
was
up.
here, there was gonna be a memorandum of understanding, as Dean suggested, and then that's where it got lost with the attorney.
It was hung up because his attorney was to provide things to Mel, and she never received them, and of course then we've gone through subsequent solicitors. And he finally gave me a copy of a document a few months ago, and I've got to check. Maybe I sent it to Cam, but
I was gonna say, I don't think I've seen that.
No, I bet it went to Cam.
Well, I can't speak for everybody from council, but I was pretty positive that we was given permission. We was just trying to get the legal mumbo jumbo taken care of, and it failed getting it completely documented. But I think we was all in agreement that we was going to allow him to do the improvement. But
Do we want to put it on the agenda for next meeting?
let me see if I can find it.
I think if I might remember, sir, we tabled that until, like you said, we got documentation from the attorneys.
Yeah,
I think when
like a
he
year.
came and spoke to council, I think what Mel had said was a memorandum of understanding, because he said if he transferred it to his son, because everybody said no, but he said, what about my family? And they said they were gonna do an MOU, memorandum of understanding, MOU on that it could go to family, but other than that, it wouldn't transfer.
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we can go back to look at the minutes.
But as far as him actually putting it in, I was pretty sure we would all agreed that he could do that. And then we was just waiting for the legal description to come through.
You know, it kind of fell through the cracks for a while. I thought maybe we should button it, split it up one way or the other.
Well, if anything, it
So, Brian, you're
helps
gonna
to
look
stay
into
on
that?
top,
Alright,
so we don't have things that arise 10 years from now when somebody's trying to do something and then, I mean, we're seeing that happen all over the village right now with properties that aren't corrected.
we didn't sign that, sign that. I don't know who didn't sign that. What's your signature?
Everybody need to sign that?
Yep. Any other old business?
Brian, are you gonna give updates on the water treatment plant and all that stuff, or should we do it in old business?
We can do it now.
Okay.
I mean, there's really, nothing's really changed. The engineering plans have gone to the EPA for their review, and it's gonna, well, they are actually, they moved the plans to the regional office out of Bowling Green, which is kind of unusual, which implies that they're attempting to expedite the review of the plans. It appears that the EPA has some funding available, so that may be the reason why they're expediting. But it's still, probably a couple of months before we hear anything, which would be ironically very fast. Let's see, let me get to my notes. We had discussion on digitizing records. I have 21 journals ready to go. I'm working with a company called Access Digitizing. They are approved through the state of Ohio, through the Department of Administrative Services. And we got a quote for about $3,800. I'm waiting for them to assign a project manager, and then they'll set up a time and date to come and pick the records up. And they take them to Indianapolis, and then they digitize them. We review the digitized records, and then they bring them back to us. So that's where we're at with that.
Is that all of them? You said 21?
It's 21 journals. Most of what you see in the boxes back there,
Yeah.
they are contained in the journals. So what he does here, he memorializes it in the journals
Yep.
and stuff. So
What's the turnaround on it? Do you have an idea?
I want to say maybe 30 days, but I may be wrong.
Maybe quick.
Yeah, it's,
That seems a lot cheaper than what we thought.
well, the way they're scanning it is that they won't. Okay, so let's just say the journal starts on January 1, 1971, and it ends on December 31st, 1973. That's what your scan's going to be. That one PDF will be the entire book, page after page after page after page, instead of having an index for everything in the book. That becomes extremely expensive, and they didn't even give me a price on that. So these books will all be scanned, and then we can take and we can load them to, we'll probably, I'm looking at buying some storage and then have a link on our website. So you can click on it and it'll just take you to that specific document.
Will they be searchable?
No,
Not
no,
searchable.
because it's a single, they'll be searchable in the sense that each journal will be titled by the time period, but the documents within the journal is basically one long PDF.
Yeah.
But Brian, if they're providing a PDF, I can do OCR in the PDF.
Okay,
Which would probably take no more than like 30 seconds for each book, how fast it goes now. And then it would be entirely searchable, possibly downloadable off the
Okay.
website.
I'll let you know when we get to that point.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for him to assign a project manager so we can get them out of here.
That would break down the contents that's in the.
What it would do is just make it searchable. So if there's,
You could put
if
something
you've
in it
got
with-
2 years in one volume, then you could go and type in, sidewalks, and it'll show you all the
Oh,
pages where sidewalks is listed. or you could put in an ordinance number, and then it'll show you all the ordinances that are listed. And as far as making it split up, like he said, it would be more of a project, but that would still make it a lot better to have it searchable, where books are getting a little fragile.
Yeah. Nothing new on Schaefer Road. Hopefully with change of administration, maybe there will be, but nothing's changed there. What other questions do you have?
Last month we had, discussed office space, and you were gonna get another, lease agreement around because Bill didn't like some of the items.
We
that were-
actually just ended up doing a month-to-month on a purchase order.
Okay,
So we have no agreement and come and go as we please.
okay, so that's all settled and done?
Mhm.
Okay. Nothing else?
I am gonna wanna have an executive session for a couple of minutes. I don't know if you wanna do it now or if you wanna
Well,
wait.
has anybody got questions for George while he's here for his police report? No. Okay,
Thanks, George.
thanks, George.
You wanna finish up with the new business before you go to executive?
That's fine.
session? I know Bill had some questions on the one ordinance. So-
Yeah, ordinance 2024-12 prohibiting duplexes and triplexes in single-family homes. We had some brief discussion on that in the Planning and Zoning Commission, and a lot of questions arose about the enforcement of it, who would be responsible for it, and it could get into where possibly the property, if it did, was changed, maybe without any type of a zoning permit, then you might have to have a zoning building inspector come in and actually physically inspect the building before you could do any action on it. You couldn't just say, well, I'm pretty sure that's happening. And then you could end up with possibly a lien against the property, which all that has to be kind of ironed out before you make an ordinance. Otherwise, there's no way of enforcing it if you don't have all the rules and ducks in a row. So I think that possibly would be a better move to have that run through this planning and zoning commission as well before we act on it, just to make sure that everything is legal once it happens, and who's going to be responsible to enforce it, and what expenses might be incurred as far as we have to hire a building inspector to come in, or there's going to be expenses with that, so we'll have to have all that ironed out to some certain extent, I believe, before we pass this ordinance. So I'd like to make a motion to move that ordinance 2024-12 to the Planning and Zoning Commission as well.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so Bill made a motion, and Bryce seconded. Motion on the floor to move ordinance 2024, to table ordinance 2024-12 and move it to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Bill Boylan,
Yes?
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Brian Smith,
Yes.
Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Jason Franks.
Yep.
And Dean Reister.
Yes.
Any other new business?
I believe last month we was talking about the current water rates, and you had asked a question about renters.
I was.
What
Yeah.
What was your question on that? Can you clarify a little bit what you was talking about?
Yeah, we basically have 4 different pricing categories. We've got resident, non-resident, and landowners, and essentially renters. And I was hoping we could narrow it down to have just resident and non-resident. And that way it would simplify the billing, and it also wouldn't make like a separate category of class of people.
I guess I don't recall a renter's honor. I know we had a homestead.
Homestead exemption, so you get the homestead exemption if you own a property, if you own your own home. And so that's what I'm basically
Well, you
saying.
have to
So
be a
it's saying,
senior citizen for that.
I don't think so.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And,
You have to be
and
under 65.
they're no longer available. Strickland in 2006, the House and Senate passed a bill, and I don't think you can get it.
I've got it.
I don't think you can get it now.
Now,
You can't, unless you've already had it. You can't no new applicants.
No, yeah, beginning in 2007, there was no new. But the water rates, all we have is you either live in town or you live out of town. Renters
Right.
in town don't pay more than property owners pay. They pay the same amount. The only difference is they pay a deposit when they come in for,
Okay,
So
it just,
just-
I mean, on our ordinance, it looks like there's the 4 categories. And that's what I was saying
So
about
you're
that.
thinking there's a category that,
Well, yeah, I thought for sure I had the homestead exemption. I know I'm not Bill's age, but I'm coming up there.
It's 65 and older to get it.
And I thought I had it on my bill.
okay. I was just kind of wondering what.
Because I think it's like $15 a month less or so.
It kind of breezed over what you was talking about, so I just wanted to kind of see where it
Yeah.
was coming from on that, so I can go back and take a look and see what we're talking about.
Okay. So the homestead exemption that the state says is the same one that we're honoring. It's not like 2 separate classes. Is that right?
I'm sorry.
The homestead exemption is only if it's through the state, correct?
That's
Yeah, it's the only one that can award it.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay. That's all I had.
yeah. No, thanks for asking about that.
Any other new business? No, there's no other new business. Do the mayor's report before we move to executive session. Or move to executive now.
I'm sorry, I don't have a mayor's report for this month. We had some problems and I'll have it next month.
I'd ask for a motion to go to executive session for the discussion of the sale of property.
Was that Steve and Brian?
Yeah.
Motion on the floor to move to executive session to discuss the sale of village property. Steve Jordan,
Yes.
Brian Smith.
Yep.
Jason Franks,
Yes.
Bryce Steiner,
Yes.
Bill Boylan,
Yes.
and Dean Rice.
Yes. If you want to go down, I can walk. Yeah.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Who made it?
Jason, Steve, second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. I can walk. I got my jacket.
Thank you, guys.
It's right easier.
I have